Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host today, Jeff, and I'm going to be talking about economic preppers and what's coming ahead, and also a review of the BRICS and a little bit of Jackson Hole, but really Jackson Hole didn't really do anything. I'm just going to talk about what came out of the BRICS conference and what India's position is, and how interesting the dynamics of all these different countries and how it's affecting everything on the global financial picture. So if you like that kind of content and you want to help out the channel, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really helps out the channel. Also, you see everything that's scrolling across the bottom. I mention it throughout the channel. We got the Silver Symposium at the end of September. The discount for the tickets are at the bottom, and you get a free ounce of silver if you attend. It's only basically a third of the cost is right here, and we're going to give that to you at the event. So $89 for a ticket, about $30 worth of silver. It's about $60 to attend. That's really good for a conference. So hope to see you there at the end of September. And of course, if you want to know more about crypto or about what we do at Economic Preppers, we will have a booth there. I'll be there. Patrick is obviously hosting. He's the MC. Dylan and myself will be at the booth a lot. We will have a booth there. And we'll talk about a lot of different things and what we offer to our members as well. So let's jump right in and let's talk about what's going on with BRICS and how it happened, and then how that plays into India. And if I have time, I'm going to try and keep it. It might have to be a two-parter here, but let's just see how we go. So let's start with a great article out of Zero Hedge, and I'll try to remember to link that as well. But there's a lot of good content here, and you can see the picture of the BRICS Business Forum. I've highlighted. Let's get rid of that. Come on now. All right, here we go. Okay. So there's a lot of this section that's going on. There's a lot I highlighted from this conference. Let me zoom in and try to get you as much of this as possible. Get rid of that. Can't get rid of that. Okay, great. Okay. So I'll zoom back out, and here we go. So India wanted, they agreed on expansion. Okay. Originally, India only wanted 3 new members to BRICS. China wanted as many as 10. A compromise was eventually reached with 6 members: Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, Argentina to my Latin American friends, and Ethiopia. So now it's BRICS 11, and that's just the beginning, starting with a rotating Russian presidency. So they rotate who's the president of BRICS. Right now it's South Africa. Now it's going to be Russia. So BRICS will be hosted starting in January of 2024. Russia's going to be in charge of BRICS. More partners will be progressively included, and more certainly a new round of full members will be announced at the BRICS 11 summit in Kazan. I assume that's in Russia. That seems like it, in October next year. So we could progress to a BRICS 20 from BRICS 11 on the way to a BRICS 40. The G7 is basically sliding towards oblivion. I will get to the G7 and the G20 and all that stuff in a moment. But first things first. At that fateful table in Johannesburg, Russia supported Egypt. China went all out for Persian Gulf magic. They wanted Iran, they wanted the UAE, and they wanted the Saudis. Of course, Iran-China was already deep into a strategic partnership, and Riyadh is already accepting payment for energy in yuan. Now, Brazil and China supported Argentina, Brazil's troubled neighbor, running the risk of having its economy fully dollarized, and also key commodity provided to Beijing. So Argentina is favored by Brazil and China. So all these 5 major nations they planted their flag in the ground for each of these different countries, and they're just championing them, saying that we need them in here. South Africa supported Ethiopia, another African country. India, for a series of very complex reasons, was not exactly comfortable with 3 Arab Muslim members of Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Egypt. Russia eventually assuaged New Delhi's fears. So at the end of the day, they went up with 6. India was mollified by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who was representing Russia because Putin couldn't attend. So he's on the table negotiating on behalf of Putin, and highly respected by New Delhi. They fully understood that a new single BRICS currency is a long way away. So now they're going to do everything in their national currencies. Lavrov understood how New Delhi is absolutely terrified of secondary sanctions by the U.S. in case its role in BRICS gets too ambitious. That's important to note, okay? And this is probably, all right, let me finish the last paragraph here, and then I'll jump over to the G7 thing. So New Delhi support for new BRICS currency would be interpreted in Washington, D.C. as an all-out trade war, and sanctions dementia would follow. In contrast, Saudi Arabia's MBS, I think that's the Minister of Banking, I don't know, Saudi Arabia doesn't care. All right. Yeah, that's kind of like they're I don't know. They're the honey badger. They just don't care. All right. So now they're down to 11. And look, and let me share the G7 and G20. So the G7 looks like this. You've got the US, the UK, France, Italy, Canada, Japan, and Germany. G8, just outside the 7, is Russia. G20 includes most of your BRICS nations. You got Brazil. Russia's in the 8, so we're essentially in the 20. So the 8 really doesn't count. It's 7 or 20. So in the 20, but not the 7, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All 5 are in the 20, but not in the 7. So that's important to note. So India is trying to walk the fine line of saying, hey, we like being part of the G20, but we also like being part of the BRICS too. So now you've got these 5 of the G20, which are outside the 7. So 5 of the 13, not in the 7. It's a lot of math, a lot of numbers. But about half of the G20 that's not in the G7 are like, let's jump into this. And now Argentina, Saudi Arabia, now you're going to have 7, okay? And the European Union, that's not really a country. It's kind of a conglomerate. So Mexico did apply. All these countries could eventually, Argentina is on just waiting to get in. Turkey's waiting to get in. Basically, everybody but Australia has been rumored or interested in the EU in being a part of BRICS. So back to the article. So now let's talk about the strategic stakes. For all practical purposes, in Eurasian terms, BRICS 11 is now on the way to lord over the Arctic Sea route. So that's the Arctic, that's the northern trade route. That's the International North-South Transportation Corridor. BRI's East-West corridors, that's Brazil, Russia, and India. The Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Suez Canal. So Egypt has canal. They get the Red Sea, get the Persian Gulf with a lot of Middle Eastern countries joining. It's a big deal. Now with BRICS 11, possibly including Venezuela, Algeria, and Kazakhstan as new members as early as in 2024, and may control as much as 90% of all oil and gas traded globally. This is a reason why the U.S. recently said, hey, Venezuela, let's talk about those sanctions. Maybe let's lighten them up. They want to, now the U.S. has to, on the international stage, try to pull these guys back into the fold. They've basically alienated a lot of the foreign countries. Operations settled in local currencies will also bypass the dollar. And in an inevitable conclusion, the petrodollar will be placed in a coma. Already in the horizon, direct BRICS 11 OPEC symbiosis is inevitable. Basically, OPEC is effectively run by Russia and Saudi Arabia, who are now going to be part of BRICS 11. So now OPEC Plus is essentially run by BRICS 11. So now you've got all that in play. And also, to not to make matters worse for the United States, but this is just facts. By choosing Ethiopia, BRICS expands its African reach on mining minerals and metals, because Ethiopia is rich in gold, platinum, tantalum, copper, niobium. I think that's right. I don't remember that one from the periodic chart. Don't even know what it's used for, but hey, if it's rare and they got it, I'm sure people want it. So there's lots more in this article. It's a really good article. I'm going to drop out of that. Again, here's the G7, okay? The G7, India is trying to walk this fine line between being friendly with these countries and being friendly with their BRICS friends too. So you've got this. So what's happening next, I'm going to point this out, and this video is already getting a little long, so I'm probably going to break this into 2 parts here. So starting in the week after Labor Day, the weekend after Labor Day, September 9th and 10th, there's a New Delhi summit in India with the G20. And I believe that Modi, President Modi of India, is also the president of the G20 right now. So I'll go over this tweet in more depth in the next video, but I want to point this out. This is a good thread created by Kayur Rohit. I don't know him very well. Crypto King Kayur. Indian PM Modi drops huge announcement on global crypto regulation at the G20. So that's coming. Here's everything you need to know, and I will go through this thread statement by statement, tweet by tweet, or X by X, whatever you want to call it, in the next video. And I'll point that out, the implications to crypto of what's going to happen at G20, but my take on it, and I'll state this again in the next one. And here's my Twitter if you want to follow me. That's my real name now, and we got it out there. And it's going to be in the book that I'm going to have at the economic preppers are going to have at the event. That's one of the things we're going to offer. This is a perfect position taken by PM Modi in India. India is both a leader in the G20 and a founding member of BRICS. this is the way. This is going to be what they're going to do. So I'm going to delve into that in the next video. Let me drop out of here and close out. So I'm going to go into that in the next video, right? And that'll be the crypto video for this week. And as we talk about what's coming, because we're a week and a half away from that summit. So we just had the BRICS, and we had Jackson Hole, where not much happened. They basically said nothing. You know, Federal Reserve is the Federal Reserve. They don't tell you much. But we see how these other countries outside the US are trying to deal with de-dollarization and controlling resources, which they already have. So lots said today. I will talk more in the next video about the crypto and the implications from President Modi on that Twitter thread. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, again, like, share, subscribe, really helps out the channel. Leave a comment down below. I'll respond to all of them. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.